And that's the other thing about training too, is as we're talking through this, it's not always the team sergeant that's running these classes. Almost always it's the young dude. It's your primary medic. It's your E3, E4 guy that's running, on tactical Tuesdays or, JTAC Thursdays or whatever we have. It's not the number one team sergeant. It's not the officer running people through a class. You look, 2 days beforehand, you're like, hey, you're the primary JTAC. I want you to teach this class coming up on, you're teaching classes on Thursdays. And usually that's that staff sergeant, that young team member. That's their first chance to get up in front of the team, a team full of experts, and to really start honing their craft. And they're going to run training events for those days. Like you can expect, it's not good enough just for you to be tactically sound at these things. You can expect that you're going to teach these things all the time. From day one of the pipeline until you retire, somebody is going to come into your area and be like, hey, I need you to stand up and just right off the hip, I need you to put together this class and you're going to teach the team how to do these things. And that's valuable as well.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's how you know that you truly know something and that you're a subject matter expert, is that if you can teach it. And that's also when you quickly know that you're not a subject matter expert, is when somebody does ask you to, hey, teach me a 9-line or teach me a trach or teach me, just teach me how to put an Israeli litter together. You're like, oh boy.
Boy, I better go. Where is the litter? Just I'm gonna go grab it real quick.
Yeah, let's slip this 20 minutes real quick. So I'll be back in here. Like, oh my gosh.
See one, do one, teach one.
Yeah,
keeping
exactly.
on with the cliches. Those aren't cliches. That's really what you're gonna do. Like you're gonna learn it. And then you're gonna show like some sort of mastery, at least to a 70% level, right? Like you might not be the world's best JTAC, but you can do it. You can be safe. You can be effective. But then the next time that training event comes up, you're going to be expected to teach it. You're going to be, because there's always a new guy. You might be the new guy now, but you're not going to be the new guy forever. You're only going to be the new guy for about 6 months until we get another new guy in. And then you're going to be the one that has to take the new guy through the stuff that you're doing right now.
Yep. Oh, and it's important that's that trickle down of kind of effect. And you just mentioned the new guy is only the new guy for around 6 months or whatever before there's another new guy. But, that is so true. You really, I mean, we talked about it on here about building your bench and all that kind of stuff, meaning that you need to be training, molding, mentoring the people that are going to replace you, because there is one guarantee: you will take this uniform off. You will not do this forever.
Right.
You've got to make sure that it's not just setting up, this big picture. You're not setting up America for the right thing, but you're also setting up like your teammate, your friend, because they are the one. Imagine you knew something and you were just like, he'll figure it out. Which, granted, some things they do have to figure out, but he'll figure it out. And then next thing you know, he freaking, the hoist snapped or,
right.
Something happened on a training event, and then they're scarred for life or they're dead, That is, dude, you got to live with that. And that's why it's important that, you are communicating and training all the time.
Well, and you get this sense of urgency too, because if you're on team for long enough, you see terrible things happen.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, if you're a jump master, if you're a team leader, if you're a JTAC, like I bet you can pull up in your memory, like how many friendly fire events were there and what lessons learned from those friendly fire events. I can pull up helicopter crashes and mountaineering accidents and, times where people treated patients and the patients didn't live. Like those stories get burned into your brain, because that's how we make ourselves better. So you really do have a sense of urgency. Sometimes the young guys don't understand it too. When they get on team, they're like, and you see it with instructors, like people will see stuff. It's like taping the water bottles. Why do instructors freak out about taping your gear correctly? We made the joke, I don't know how many times now, about taping that gear, but it's because the instructor in their head, they're like, no, that's a lapse in situational awareness. It's a lapse in, attention management, attention to detail. That gets people killed. And as a person that's going through assessment selection, you don't understand that. You're like, dude, I didn't tape my water bottle exactly like my buddy did, how is that going to lead to somebody dying? And, I had a couple of instructors that, they would just get so fired up. Like every instructor has those isms. Well, that's why. It's because what they're doing is they've been on team long enough. If you're on team for long enough, you're going to have a friend, unfortunately, that passes away. You're going to have a friend that gets seriously hurt in a training event because we do dangerous stuff. If you look at the, NSW communities and at the special forces communities, people die in parachute accidents. They die in training accidents where live fire, live fire, shoot, move, communicate. They die in vehicle rollovers. Like, unfortunately, people get hurt and they get killed doing this stuff, right? So it's all fun and games until it isn't. And really what you do as a team leader is you start injecting that for realism's sake into the training. And you'll say, hey, you cannot do this or this will kill somebody. And, and I'm telling you from my personal experience. And I know sometimes it seems hyperbolic, or it sometimes seems like the instructors are just being crazy and just being, oh, if you don't tape your water bottle, somebody dies. Well, okay, yeah, not taping your water bottle probably isn't going to lead to somebody's death. But what that instructor is doing is they're saying, like, I've seen people get complacent. I've seen people go, well, I know I'm supposed to do it this way, but I'm going to do it this way. Does it really matter? And they've seen terrible consequences from those sort of decisions. And it's almost like an oral history, or it's how we mentor, right? It's how we coach, guide, mentor. It's how we help groom our replacement, because that's really what you're doing at every single level, whether you know it or not. Your job is to teach the person below you how to do your job. Because the military machine, whatever it is that we want to talk about, the military machine does not care about you. You have to take care of your people, and you have to get that person ready, because the military machine is just going to wake up one day and be like, all right, Aaron, you're out. Who's your team sergeant now? And I have to go, oh, this guy Jared is my team sergeant now. And the military is going to be like, well, hope they're ready, because we're going to put them in the highest stakes game that they can have right now. And if you don't, every single day, if you don't give a shit about your people, if you don't actually care, train, coach, guide, mentor, give them the things that they need, give them good training events, give them consistent training events. If you can't do that, you're going to set your friend up for failure. And that person could pay the ultimate price for it. And it sounds hyperbolic, but unfortunately it isn't. Like, those really are the stakes of the game you're playing.
Yeah, and there are, of course, different levels to it. I mean, when you start talking about marking your gear, it takes me right back. So I'm thinking NDOC, when I was there, we had an instructor, Dave Swan. I think he's retired chief now, but
legend, yeah.
Okay, legend, yes. Complete asshole in NDOC for no reason.
That's what I meant. Yeah, he was a legend in that sense. He was a terror. There were only really two instructors, so Dave Swan and then Yo-Yo Keaton, also retired chief, David Keaton. Those two instructors, for me, I swear, when they showed up, I was like, my life sucks. This is bullshit.
And I hope Dave hears that. Nah, man. It was always funny.
Amazing. I love me some Yo-Yo. God, it's such a good dude.
Yo-Yo's awesome.
But yeah,
I love it.
Absolutely terrifying. Dave Swan.
Dave Swan, I'm sure you're not the same dude now, but I tell you what, there were times where you were an asshole for no reason.
Entire generations that come be hating Dave Swan.
Yeah. But with that said, I remember specifically, and this is where that mentorship comes from, whether a guy's, an asshole at the time or not. Like, I remember he explained this at NDOC while we were talking about marking your gear, lining your gear up, lining your water bottles up appropriately, and all that kind of stuff. And David had an accident with, and I'm sure I'll mess it up, like some of the details, but he had an accident with the hoist cable. And we had actually done that training kind of overview with the Rams jump and the hoist out on the CV-22 a couple months ago, and we had actually started talking about the hoist cable, right? And so that attention to detail, you have to have somebody that has SA and control over that hoist cable, because that cable will kill somebody or hurt somebody on the best of days, kill somebody, whether it's daytime or nighttime. And you can see this in the video that we did, is that this is daytime. So Dave Swan's talking about all this, and he shows his thumb because at some point, just a little loop in that cable had gone over his thumb, and it happened so quick. So it's kind of as it's going up, but I think he had control over it, and just a little loop happened and just degloved his thumb.
Took his thumb right off. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what, in that video that we did too, those are calm seas. So we're not even talking about like, if, there could be if you're in 10-foot seas, if you're in 10-foot rollers, then that means when you go closer to the helicopter, that's 10 feet of slack for that hoist cable in the water. That could, if that wraps around your leg, if it wraps around your torso, neck, your arm, your neck, anywhere, you're done. The second that you then go down another 10 feet, like when you come off the crest of the wave and you go into the trough of the wave, or if the helicopter moves or whatever, it's a bad day. And he definitely paid the price. And he would tell that story often.
Yeah.
About how
that cable
a simple lapse of, it was bad luck too. But it was, it was the way that he would describe it to you is he would say that he wasn't paying attention to it for 1 second. He wasn't giving it the attention that it deserves, and he ended up paying a price for it. And he almost lost his whole hand. He was lucky that he only lost, his thumb or a portion of his thumb. But he would tell that story often as a attention management tool, and he was dead on. It's those little things that you may not understand. Why are the instructors harping on this? Why is it so important that I have all of my gear in the same bag, in the same pocket as my buddy does? Why does that matter? Well, it matters because if you're hurt, I need to know where your medical gear is. I can't be rifling through your rucksack when you're bleeding out. I need to know, we standardize our kit for everything. We all wear our IFAK. When you're on a team of mine, I will tell you 100%, you're wearing your IFAK in the exact same portion or the exact same place on your body. It's either under your weak side arm or it's dead center in the middle of your back, in the middle of your belt line on your back.
Like, and why do I need to know where your IFAK kit is?
Because I don't want to die, homie. Because if I catch a hot one, I'm going to need you to fix me. This is where my tourniquet is, and this is where my chest seal is.
But the reason why I was asking that is because I need to know where Aaron's IFAK kit is, just like he needs to know where mine is and everybody else on the team. Because if I have to come treat you because you got hurt, I'm not using my stuff. I'm using your stuff because I need my stuff for me. And that's like, correct me, get me to correct, but like as a J, if your wounds, if I can sustain and care for your wounds using your IFAK, even though I have a ruck that has all the, airway, bleeding, circulation, or breathe air. What is the ABC?
Yeah. Airway, breathing, circulation.
Okay.
ABCs.
Cool. Then I don't need to crack that open, and I can fix you, or at least, get you stable through your own IFAK. That's what I'm going to use, because I need to prepare for all the other injuries that could or may happen, or will happen rather. And I need that ruck for that, because on a standard PJ ruck, you can treat how many patients?
So we say that you can treat 2 critical patients for 72 hours. That's what you have inside of the med ruck.
Yeah, dude, I'm totally putting you on the spot here.
I'm here, baby. I answered that call. I knew that one. I was all about it.